Why do we want to suffer? It sounds weird, but we want to suffer. Let me explain. In Romeo and Juliet, the final scene is filled with death and sadness. But audience often leave not in horror, but in awe of their love. Their pain becomes something beautiful, a sign of how deeply they loved each other. Even though the story is a tragedy, the ending feels romantic, like their suffering made their love even more powerful. For centuries, pain has been an important part of stories and legends. But why do we give pain so much value? Let's dig deeper and find out. In ancient cultures, particularly in Greek mythology, suffering was often viewed as meaningful, a reflection of moral truth, divine will, or inner strength. This view laid the foundation for how later societies, religion, and stories would romanticize pain. One of the clearest examples of noble suffering is the myth of Prometheus. He defies Zeus by stealing fire and giving it to humanity, empowering mortals with knowledge. For this, he is chained to a rock where an eagle eats his liver daily, a punishment that repeats for eternity. His suffering is not just tragic, it is framed as heroic. This myth laid the foundation for the later tortured hero archetype, someone who suffers for a higher cause. This is a core element of romanticized suffering, when pain is seen as necessary for something greater, whether it's love, wisdom, freedom, or redemption. Christianity placed redemptive suffering at the very center of its story. The crucifixion of Jesus was a brutal event, betrayal, humiliation, and torture. Yet in Christian belief, this was not a defeat. It was a sacrifice, one made willingly for the sake of humanity. His suffering was the price of redemption, the act of freeing humanity from sin, guilt, and separation from God. The cross, an instrument of Roman torture, became a symbol of love, hope, and victory. To carry your cross means to face hardship willingly, not with bitterness or resentment, but with strength, humility, and faith. It doesn't mean seeking pain, but rather accepting the pain that comes with love, truth, and doing what's right, whether that's caring for someone, enduring injustice, or staying true to your values. Jesus' own journey, carrying the cross through the street, falling, rising, and continuing, becomes a model of how humans can bear their own suffering. Not alone, not with resentment, but as a part of a deeper journey towards redemption and love. The Renaissance and early modern period brought a big cultural change. Art, literature, and philosophy started focusing on human emotions, personal experiences, and inner struggles. During this time, suffering was not only seen as something spiritual, it was also romanticized for how deep, emotional, and dramatic it felt. William Shakespeare is one of the most important voices of this time. In plays like Hamlet, King Lear, and Romeo and Juliet, characters don't just suffer in the body, they suffer emotionally and morally. Tragedy became a way to look deep into the human soul. The more the character suffered, the more human, real, and even noble they felt. One of the Renaissance's biggest ideas was the tragic hero, a great person with serious flaws, inner conflicts, and often a tragic end. Characters like Oedipus, Romeo, and Jay Gatsby shows this clearly. Their suffering is what makes their story so powerful and unforgettable. To suffer for love, conviction, or honor was not shameful. It was meaningful. Even death, if met with passion or dignity, could be beautiful. This romantic vision of suffering would echo to centuries to come. By the 20th century, the romanticization of suffering had shifted from religious sacrifice and poetic tragedy to a more inward psychological landscape. With modern psychology and existential thinking, suffering stopped being a test of faith or a way to reach heaven. It became key to understand who we are, our freedom, our trauma, and what it means to be human. The founder of psychoanalysis, Sigmund Freud, was one of the first to say that emotional pain shapes human behavior. He believed that mental pain and disorders were not random. They were signs of deep, unfinished conflicts, often from childhood. Freud showed that suffering is not always visible or logical. Much of it stays hidden in our unconscious mind, quietly shaping who we become. In this way, pain was no longer something to erase. It became something we need to understand. Therapy turned into a modern form of healing through conversation, bringing buried emotions to the surface and giving them words. Freud's ideas helped shape a powerful belief: understanding your suffering can change who you are. Carl Jung, who worked during the same time as Freud, took these ideas further. He believed suffering was not just mental, but also spiritual, a way to reach the deeper self. Jung said pain, crisis, and inner conflict can lead to individuation, the process of becoming your true self. He didn't praise suffering or said we should seek it, but he believed it was necessary. He once said there is no coming to awareness without pain, and when that pressure cracks it, something deeper, more wiser can come out. In today's world, especially in digital, capitalist, and startup spaces, hustle culture sends a clear message. The more you suffer, the more valuable you are. It praises long working hours, sleepless nights, and pushing your body and mind beyond their limits, all in the name of ambition, success, and being self made. These ideas turn overwork into noble suffering, just like older stories praised religious sacrifice or tragic love. The only difference is earlier people suffered for love or faith. Today, hustle heroes suffer for money, careers, and personal brands. Hustle culture grows strongest online. Social media pushes a curated version of struggle. Laptops glowing at midnight. Quotes about the grind never stopping. Videos of founders talking about sleepless nights. In the digital world, suffering becomes content. Pain turns into part of your personal brand. One reason hustle culture feels so attractive is control. If suffering leads to success, every late night feels worth it, and every burnout feels like progress. In a world full of uncertainty, pain starts to feel meaningful, something you can turn into a story. The truth is, hustle culture isn't bad or good, it's a choice you make. It asks one simple question: what are you willing to give up to get what you want? Some people are okay to give up comfort to grow, some aren't. Some enjoy the grind itself, others are exhausted by it. Neither way is right or wrong. They're just different way of living. What really matters is clarity. Are you hustling because you believe in what you're building, or because you're scared to slow down? Are you giving your time on purpose, or just because you feel pressured to? We love stories that feel real and move us, and nothing moves us more than struggle. Pain makes happiness feels earned, love feel deeper, and the ending feels worth it. After all, what is a great story without a little pain?